What's up, fuckers? It's time for a TED Talk. Well, shivering nipples that could cut glass. Last week, Mother Nature sent a message to our Texas Republican politicians. Although, she didn't send a friendly message via courier pigeon. She sent this message via the abominable fucking snowman. The state's power grid failed in below freezing temperatures, and people froze in their homes or died, desperately trying to get warm. We all know by now this happened because Republican politicians would not make the power companies pay to weatherproof their equipment. We still don't know how many people died here because of that decision, but it's not just people. Animals in the wild, on farms, and at sanctuaries died too. 13 primates froze to death in a San Antonio animal sanctuary. 12 primates froze to death. I forgot that one fled to Mexico. Yeah, our Latino Canadian build-the-wall immigrant who bashes immigrants, Texas Senator Rafael Edward Cruz, crossed the Mexican border for better living conditions for his family. Hi. He likes to be called Ted, but I prefer calling him Fled. Fled Cruz went from red, white, and blue to red, white, and green quicker than a Republican stops caring about babies after they're born. Anywho, now that the weather is above freezing here, Fled Cruz and fellow Texas Republican leaders find themselves on thin ice. But we shouldn't judge Teddy for neglecting his constituents and leaving his little dog in the freezing cold. He was just trying to be a good dad and maybe get a little R&R, rest and relaxation. Now a lot of Texans like myself want a little R&R too. Repentance and resignation. Resign, bitch! Growing up, I didn't pray the gay away. I gave the pray away. Oopsie doopsie. So it doesn't look like I'll be having children. Well, mainly because I don't fucking want any. But if I were a father, I would have used this opportunity to teach my children about selflessness, compassion, and generosity. But then again, I'm not a father or a Republican, but Ted is both. So naturally, his first instinct was to show his daughters how to run away from responsibilities, avoid human decency, and fly over Trump's incomplete border wall that he supported to get to the fanciest Ritz-Carlton that he could find. But after photos surfaced of old Teddy at the airport, his trip came to a screeching halt. Then he did what he does best, points the sausage link finger of blame elsewhere. Pro-life Raphael threw his little cruisettes under the bus faster than his story changed about his trip to Cancun. Then he had to come right back home and pass out cases of water and serve Texas barbecue for photo ops to save that face only a mother could love. Luckily, he didn't have to gas anyone for his photo op. He's not as evil as Tangerine Palpatine, or maybe it's because those parking lots were as empty as Tangy P's bankrupt casino in Atlantic City as it came tumbling to the ground. It's a beautiful view. Teddy's rigged election narrative proved he doesn't care about the Constitution, so it's no surprise he doesn't care about us. Republicans don't care about your family, your finances, or even if you freeze to death in your living room recliner. They don't care about anyone or anything except themselves, money, and power. Instead of helping Texas residents during Snowvid, Greg Abbott went on Fox News bashing the Green New Deal to try to protect his biggest donors. Oil and gas made Texas rich along with a lot of Republican politicians. Oil and gas donors have been the biggest backers in Abbott's political rise. In 6 years in office, he has raised more than $150 million from donors, more than any governor in U.S. history. 26 million of that came from gas and oil donors. Those are his constituents, not Texas residents. Our state attorney general, Ken Paxton, who's been under indictment for 5 years. Ted cruised out of here during the big freeze too. He suddenly had important business in Utah. Was that business not freezing to death? And we can't forget Senator John Cornyn. He's giving Carmen Sandiego a run for her fucking money because nobody knows where in the world he is. I'll bet he stayed in Washington and kept his head down like an ostrich after he saw how badly Cruz and Abbott fucked up. How did the Democrats do, you ask? Well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez came to Texas and handed over more than $5 million she had raised for relief for Texans. Joe Biden declared Texas a major disaster and ordered federal assistance to supplement state and local recovery efforts. Beto O'Rourke and his volunteers made over 780,000 calls to senior citizens throughout the state during Snowvid. They sent help to those who were hit the hardest, and in some cases even took people to places where they could keep warm. Beto didn't get Teddy's job, but he sure as hell did the damn job this past week. And Cruz barely kept his seat. He beat Beto by the hair of his chinny chin chins. It was the closest a Democrat has come to beating a Texas incumbent Republican senator since 1978. But now that I've called out the fuckfaces, I have to call out my little fuckers. First of all, you know that I love you, but there's always a but. A lot of y'all came to my page talking about how Texas got what it deserved. So let's spill some fucking tea. Keep your eyes off the fucking ceiling fan and listen up. I voted blue and I didn't deserve what happened. Neither did the millions of Texans who voted blue last year and in the election before that and the one before that. This is not a red state. It's now a purple state. Every large city here is blue. Deep Democrat donkey dick blue. It's much prettier than it sounds. Mayors, judges, DAs, and sheriffs, every big city and a lot of their suburbs are run by Democrats. Texas Democrats have fought for this state for decades against voter suppression, intimidation, and tricks designed to keep people from voting. They have fought back against gerrymandering and racially drawn districts that predetermine election outcomes. They have battled against big donations from powerful companies that count on Republican political help to keep their taxes low, their responsibilities limited, and their regulations non-existent. When New York City is hit by a terrorist attack, I don't say, "Ha, you people deserve it." Florida is the saggy dick of America, and even still, when it's overwhelmed by a hurricane, I don't blame it on the people who happen to live there. And when California loses lives and property to wildfires, I don't laugh and say, serves you right. Feel free to read the Texas Republicans to filth, but if I hear any more nonsense about how Texas is getting what it deserves, I'll be serving some scalding fucking hot tea in the comment section. Now, I want everybody to have a great fucking day unless you lack compassion like Texas Republican politicians.